Hello and welcome. Today's project is all about the dark side of the human psyche, the line between good and evil that runs down the middle of every human heart. The place where you can end up if you continue to entertain the resentful, bitter thoughts, that imagination. If you continue to dance with your impulses and well, you can get stuck in pain and suffering. This becomes people's normal all the time. It was my normal for a long time when I suffered from anxiety throughout my 20s. I just entertained my desires, my impulses, my bitterness and resentfulness, and I projected that onto the world. So let's look at this shadow part of ourselves, the part that we do not want to confront, right? Internal change is what comes first. Before you go out and protest, before you go out and change other people's lives, maybe there's some work that needs to be done in here, some cleaning up, right? So, and that's really the hardest work ever to do, is to confront your inadequacies. Before we dive into today's main story about Cain and Abel, this is an unbelievable story. This beautifully lays out the dark side of the human psyche, where you can end up if you entertain these thoughts. Before we talk about that, let's look at the Garden of Eden. In the Garden of Eden, the snake manages to find its way into the walled garden, the perfect garden, the perfect oasis. The snake manages to come in. In so many interpretations of this story, the snake has a human head, which is like, why would the snake have a human head? Well, that symbolizes the snake within every human being. Every human being has a snake. Every human being has the capability of harming you, betraying you. By the way, PTSD is mainly developed through your actions and the actions of other people onto you. We know, because we're conscious beings, that you can hurt me. And also, I know how to hurt you. But we live in this game, I guess you can say, or a collective understanding, a morality that, or trust even. I trust you because I trust myself. I know I'm not going to harm you, and so I'm going to, that takes courage. I'm going to trust you because I trust me. I know you have a snake in you. It could bite me, it could kill me, but I'm going to trust you anyways. That's courage. In Harry Potter, this is so cool. You know I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. In Harry Potter, the fifth book, Harry approaches Sirius Black, his godfather. He says that he's contending with the thoughts of Voldemort. And throughout the books, J.K. Rowling laid this out beautifully. Harry's contending more and more with the thoughts of Voldemort. He's contending more and more with the confrontation of Voldemort. Harry's confronting his shadow more and more. He's getting braver as he develops. And at one point in the Chamber of Secrets, he's like, I think I belong in Slytherin. I speak snake. I speak parcel tongue. I think I belong there. He's contending with that line throughout the books, right? Because people are saying, well, you must be the heir of Slytherin if you are speaking parcel mouth, because only those evil people can do that. You must be that evil person. So Harry's contending with that good and evil throughout the series. But in the fifth book, Harry confronts Sirius and he's like, I don't know what to do. Am I a bad person for thinking about these thoughts, about hurting other people, living out the imagination of Voldemort? And then Sirius says to him, it's not what you think, but it's your actions that define who you are and what you want to become, And that's worth thinking about for a long time. It's your actions that determine the results you want, the person you want to be, right? Being aware of those thoughts means that you're aware of the dark parts of yourself. You can choose to act on them, or you don't act on them. Harry chooses not to act on them. That's what defines Harry. And that's why it makes him that archetypal hero. It's truly remarkable. What a great story. But let's get into the next story of Cain and Abel, which is an unbelievable story. This beautifully lays out where you can end up if you continue to entertain negative thoughts and you act out those thoughts. And when you act out those thoughts, this can traumatize people. I see many people all the time who do certain things, act a certain way, and they just tell me, I can't believe I did that thing. And yeah, I mean, I did many things to people all the time when in my 20s, before my anxiety disorder got worse, and this partly resulted in my anxiety disorder. The actions I was doing to people, lying, cheating, and just acting out my impulses and my desires. I just couldn't control, and I felt like I was a slave, and I projected that anger out into the world. I started to shake my fists up towards God and say, like, I hate you for creating a world where this can be. And so in the Cain and Abel story, we see Cain. He's the tiller of the earth, so he's planting crops, and Abel is a herdsman. And I looked at these job descriptions and I thought about them, and I thought, well, a herdsman has more responsibility, I feel, because he's responsible for the lives of a group of animals. And I know being the tiller of the earth, there's a lot of responsibility in that too. Don't get me wrong, but I think there's more in the caring for other creatures, which is worth thinking about. Then the story goes into, and the story says that Abel is making the proper sacrifices and God starts to favor Abel. Now this is really, really interesting. Abel is sacrificing his most prized calf, animal. Cain is making sacrifices, but God is not favoring Cain's sacrifice. And you have to wonder why. And then you have to look at what Abel is sacrificing. Abel is sacrificing something of high quality, meat, right? Something very nutritious, something that is important for human health, cholesterol, healthy saturated fat. Our brains have developed because of eating meat over our evolution. Meat is really important for our nutrition. And so Abel is sacrificing that up to the God. God favors him. And that's interesting. So Abel is making the right sacrifices. And that's exactly right. You have to make the right sacrifices in order to enhance the quality of your life. You have to make the right sacrifices in order to reduce your suffering, because Cain is not making the right sacrifices and now he's suffering. He's starting to suffer. He's going into the corner, the dark parts of his mind, and he's saying, look at that Abel over there. God favors him. God, he doesn't even ask questions about what he could do that could result in an Abel-like mentality, or that could result in the results Abel is obtaining, right? He doesn't even, because what you want to do is you want to put someone like Abel on a pedestal, and you want someone to model after, right? But here's the thing, Cain kills his ideal. After brooding for God knows how long, over the resentful, bitter thoughts, he decides to act upon his imagination and to kill the thing that should he be striving to be? Yeah, because Abel's making the right sacrifices. Abel's living a high quality life. Also in the story, God says to Cain, you invited this predatory animal in and you let it have its way with you. You entertained it. And, well, let's look at God, right? God, a lot of people say, yeah, there's no actual person in the sky with a beard looking down at us. But metaphorically, there is. Because if you're a king, right, are you subordinate to something? Or are you above everybody else? Because if you're above everybody else, then what do you have to learn from anyone or anything, right? Having a metaphorical entity in the sky, the spirit of culture, means that you're subordinate to the spirit of culture, that you have more to learn, that there is more to you than this, right? Because if you are above everything else, the society, culture becomes a tyranny. So, going back to the story, Cain kills his brother, and now he suffers because now he kills his ideal. This is what happens when you are now above everything else. This is what happens when you rationalize everything. When you rationalize everything and you lose your faith, you lose that ideal, you cut that away from you, what happens is that you have no aim, North Star anymore. You have no model to emulate yourself after. That's worth thinking about. And I hope that this video has helped you understand your dark parts of the psyche. And lastly, rise above anxiety. Leave your comments below if I missed anything or if something resonated with you, let me know. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell so that whenever a new video of mine appears, you will be one of the first to know. Namaste.